Hello, here's my process breakdown video for the Tree of Life from our immersive installation. Just to break it down into three main steps, we have making the tree trunk, making the treetop, and then some images of the final tree all put together. So to make the tree trunk, Krista and I, we made the tree trunk. And so first we started off by getting multiple cardboard boxes, flattening them out, and then gluing them together in order to form like one ring. As you can see, that is the picture on the very left. And then in the hatchery at the Play Lab at UT, we found some boxes that were the perfect size to where we didn't have to connect like multiple boxes together. So whenever we flattened out the single box, it was the perfect size, which was 2 feet tall and 2 feet wide. And so the picture on the right was just us stacking up 3 other boxes on top of that one bottom piece that we had already made, just to make sure that it would come out to be the right height that we wanted, which was just under 8 feet, so about 7.5 feet is what we wanted. And that is what it came out to. Next part in making the tree trunk, we traced each cylinder piece of the tree trunk onto some cardboard to make some bases of like a top and bottom cover. And then after adding on the bottom cover to each piece, we decided to stuff the inside with some butcher paper just to give it some more support. That way it isn't as flimsy and it fills it out a little bit. And then we added the top covers on top after filling every piece. And then here's the first time where we're stacking everything together where it's actually, it looks a little bit more like a tree trunk base. After making the general base of the tree trunk, we made a support beam. That way the tree trunk had something to go onto. So we got a 8-foot long 2x4 plank of wood and we drilled it onto a 2 feet by 2 feet square piece of wood. And so we just drilled it from the bottom up, as you can see on the picture on the very right, where we put the 3 screws in at the bottom to connect the base wood to the plank support beam. And then from there, we just added each piece of the tree trunk. We just slid it down on top. We cut out holes on the top and bottom of the covers, and we just slid it onto the support beam. And then we also hot glued around the beam where the cardboard touched the wood, just to kind of make it a little more secure. And then we also hot glued the seams where each of the pieces met as well, so kind of like around each of the cylinders. So that way not only is it glued to the beam, but they are also glued to each other. And then the picture on the very right is of the entire tree trunk base finally finished and standing. And then after we finished the base, Krista, me, and Monse, we all helped add spray foam onto the base to give it texture, to make it look a little bit more like real wood, a little more like bark. And then after that, Krista and Monse helped paper mache on top of that spray foam just to smooth things out a little bit more. And then Krista and Monse painted the tree brown to give it a brown base. And then from there we added some UV highlights. That way there's just a little bit more contrast and fun sort of in the installation, and it wouldn't just look so plain brown. There would, the tree would also stand out as well. And then me and Monse made some little grass pom-poms to add to the base of the tree around the edge, just so that way to clean it up a little bit, where that way the seams of where the paper mache ended would be hidden, and this also helps add to the immersiveness. And then the next part of making the tree was making the tree top. We decided to make these 2 separate things. That way the tree trunk didn't have to fully support the weight of the tree top. And And to make this, Krista and I cut out the base of the treetop just using cardboard, and the treetop came out to be like 6 feet wide. And then from there, I hot glued chicken wire around the circumference of the circle to give it like a wire frame to make putting the leaves on easier later. And then from there, all three of us, Monse, Krista, and I, we all made these tissue paper pom-pom sort of flower things in order to make the leaves on the treetop. And then after making a bunch of pom-poms, Krista and I went ahead and glued everything onto the treetop around, all around the sides where the wire was, and then also underneath. And then after gluing on all the leaves, I went ahead and glued some paper ribbon around the treetop just to sort of make it look a little bit like vines were hanging down from the tree. And then here are some pictures of the final tree, and the way that we were able to connect the tree trunk and the tree top together was we rigged the tree top just using some fishing wire up to the truss with the help of my professor, Matt Smith. We rigged it to the truss there in the play lab. That way it is suspended and just barely hovering over the tree trunk. So that way it still gives the illusion like it is one piece, but when in reality, they are two separate pieces. So the picture on the left is the final tree in regular lighting, and the picture on the right is the tree in some UV lighting. Thank you.